Hey everyone, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are demystifying four incredibly common programming terms that sound remarkably alike, but trust me, they have very, very different rules governing them. If you've ever found yourself staring at a coding problem, scratching your head, and wondering exactly what the phrasing is actually asking for, you're in the right place. Let me kick things off with a question that trips up so many junior developers, and frankly, even some seasoned veterans get caught off guard in technical interviews. Here it is. Is a subarray the exact same thing as a subset? It sounds like a simple question, right? But the answer fundamentally changes how you're going to approach writing your code.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the coding confusion, move into the strict slice, minding the gap, total freedom, the grand hierarchy, and wrap it all up with why this matters.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the coding confusion.
Subarray, substring, subsequence, and subset. Four S words. People frequently confuse them, treating them like they're just completely interchangeable. But mastering the exact definitions from our source material is the absolute key to accurate technical communication. When an interviewer or a senior engineer uses one of these words, they mean something incredibly specific. Confusing them, well, that could lead you down a completely wrong path in an algorithm.
Moving on to Section 2, the strict slice, covering subarrays and substrings.
A subarray is all about strict consecutive order. It is a contiguous slice of an array. To visualize this, just imagine an array containing the numbers 1, 2, and 3. The valid subarrays here are unbroken slices, like 1, 2, or 2, 3, or even just the number 2 all by itself. You cannot skip around. The elements must literally sit right next to each other in the original array.
Now here's a quick pro tip that'll immediately make you sound a lot sharper in discussions. Calling it a contiguous subarray is completely redundant. Seriously, a subarray is contiguous by definition. It's kind of like saying a round circle. Sure, sometimes people use the phrase just to be extra clear, but technically speaking, the word subarray already guarantees that unbroken chain.
And mathematically, you can calculate the exact quantity of subarrays in an array of size n using this precise formula: n times n plus 1 divided by 2. This is a massive time saver. If you have an array of 5 elements, you don't need to manually count the subarrays out to know there are exactly 15 of them. This formula maps out exactly how many unbroken combinations exist.
So what about a substring? Well, a substring applies the exact same strict, contiguous rules, but specifically in the context of text. It's really just a subarray of characters. For instance, if you have the word apple, valid substrings are unbroken chains of letters, like pulling app or apple from the original word. You can't just yank an A and an L out and call it a substring. It has to be an unbroken slice of the string.
Okay, on to Section 3, minding the gap. Let's talk about subsequences.
Let's compare exactly what changes here. Where a subarray demands an unbroken, contiguous chain with absolutely zero exceptions, a subsequence bends that rule by allowing you to delete elements and create gaps. You are finally allowed to skip over things.
The crucial takeaway is that a subsequence maintains the relative order. It doesn't need to be contiguous. For example, if you have an array of letters A, B, C, D, E, then A, C, E is a perfectly valid subsequence. We just deleted the B and the D. Even though it's not contiguous anymore, the A still comes before the C and the C still comes before the E. The relative order is completely preserved.
Generating all subsequences is actually mathematically equivalent to finding the power set. You can do this really elegantly using binary steps. Think of it kind of like a series of light switches. For every element in your set, a 0 means you delete it, and a 1 means you keep it. By simply counting up through binary numbers, you seamlessly generate every possible subsequence with gaps permitted.
All right, Section 4, total freedom, subsets.
A subset completely shatters the relative order rule. It allows for absolutely any possible combination of the original set. It doesn't have to be contiguous, and it absolutely does not care about the original order. As long as the elements existed in the parent array, you can bundle them together however you like.
Take the numbers 1 through 5, for example. Because a subset can be randomly ordered, 3, 1 is a completely valid subset of the array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 3 comes before the 1 now. Because of this random order, it is strictly neither a subsequence nor a subarray. It has transcended all the previous rules we just covered.
Which brings us nicely to Section 5, the grand hierarchy, putting it all together.
I love this quote because it brilliantly illustrates our expanding freedom arc. Remember this rule. All subarrays are subsequences and all subsequences are subsets, but there's no way the reverse is valid. The strictest rule naturally satisfies all the looser rules above it, but you just cannot work backwards. A strict slice is technically a sequence with 0 gaps, and a sequence with 0 gaps is technically a subset that just happens to be in order.
For instance, if we take that original array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the slice 1, 2 actually qualifies as all 3. It meets the strict, contiguous rules of a subarray. Because it's a subarray, it's naturally a subsequence where nothing was deleted. And finally, it easily satisfies the broad, entirely open definition of a subset. It's a perfect overlap.
And finally, Section 6, why this matters.
Think of this breakdown as your ultimate cheat sheet. It clearly shows how the structural requirements just vanish as you move down the list. A subarray requires a yes for contiguous and a yes for maintaining order. A subsequence drops the contiguous requirement to a no, but keeps the order. And finally, the subset drops both requirements to no, granting you that total free-form flexibility we discussed earlier.
To wrap up this explainer, let me leave you with this provocative thought. If you recognize that a coding problem is asking for a subset, and therefore it definitely doesn't require maintaining order or sorting, how much computing power and execution time could you save in your next technical assessment? Understanding the exact boundaries of these words isn't just about sounding smart in a meeting, it is about fundamentally optimizing how your code runs. Think about it. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.